Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Gurok here, Casual Gamer Dad, coming at you guys with another Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker video. This one is a little bit different from my previous ones, and in fact, as you know, I usually cover mostly PvE topics and just PvE tips and tricks and review classes based on their PvE performance, but we're doing things a little differently here. We're actually going to touch on the topic of PvP today. This video, I know, is, I as you've read in the title, I'm sure, it is just an overview of PvP in its current state, what it used to be, what it is now, and just what my honest thoughts on PvP and the new two, or not new, but the two available PvP modes that are available currently right now. I know it's a bit of a day late, dollar short kind of scenario, but I feel like at this point in time, I've done enough PvP since the revamp that I can actually give an accurate opinion on it, rather than like, oh hey, it's been like 2 weeks and I feel like now I'm an expert at it or something, so I'll give my opinions. No, I wanted to give it time, and time I've given it. So here we go. First of all, if you are new to Final Fantasy XIV or MMOs in general, obviously there is player versus player. It's not the main aspect of the game, but it can be for you if you are into that sort of thing. Previously, before patch 6.1 in Endwalker, PvP was kind of not the best. Like, it was fun, but it was handled way differently from PvE. Not just in the fact that, like, in PvE you fight a bunch of AI controlled, just trash mobs and or bosses, and that's it. And in PvP you're fighting players. I mean, that's like the obvious glaring difference. But PvP back before 6.1 was kind of janky. Damage values were low, health pools were low, but because the damage you were receiving was so low, it didn't matter. Like everybody was tanky. There was a lot of homogenization. All the jobs kind of had, their base kit, and then like a bunch of cross abilities that were just all the same. And in addition to that, with the cross, or just like the generic PvP abilities, you could only ever really pick 2 out of like a list of like 5 or 6, and there were good ones and then there were not so great ones, so it didn't really give many like good options to like play around with and just customize yourself. Limit breaks were a thing, but limit breaks were, again, homogenized. Like, tanks had, AoE damage reduction, healers had AoE healing, and all the different sectors of DPS had their own, like, like melee DPS had Braver. Magical range DPS had Meteor, and physical range DPS just like pulled out 2 guns and were like pew pew, in a big straight line. I mean, it was just kind of janky. Not janky, but it just wasn't like, wasn't as fun as it is now. You know what I mean? If I can say so. Nowadays, PvP is actually really fun, and I mean, a lot of this has to do with the new PvP mode that they've introduced, but mostly it's due to the fact that they revamped the PvP system, like the whole thing, and that's pretty much what I'm going to go over here. For this, I am going to turn on my UI, so I apologize. It's going to get all cluttered, but let's turn this on here. So you can see my skills here. I'm not really going to go over any of these per se, just because like that's going to be a separate video where I review all the classes individually. But if you open up your oops, I was running some Tower of Zot on Summoner earlier. But if you open up your roulette, duty finder here, you see all the different PvPs. You can see all the different things. Now, Rival Wings is kind of dead right now. Rival Wings used to be a form of PvP mode, 1 to 4 players. You can still see the description of it here. Any job of war or magic, that sort of thing. Minimum level requirement 30. But Rival Wings is dead right now. They're revamping it. They have announced in the last live letter that as of 6.2, Rival Wings is coming back and we'll then have, I hope, 3 modes of PvP. But for now, we just have these 2 here. The first one being Frontlines, which is kind of, I want to say just kind of like a free-for-all. It's a mess. It's a disaster, but it's a fun disaster. If you're not familiar with Frontlines, it's basically, if you're coming from WoW, it's kind of the equivalent of, I hate to say it from WoW, I hate to compare Final Fantasy and WoW, but if you're coming from World of Warcraft, it's similar to like Alterac Valley. It's 2, you know, instead of 2 big groups, it's 3 big groups, just going head to head to achieve whatever the objective of either of these 4 maps are. You can see that they rotate every day at 11 a.m. and you know, you kill each other and get points, and whoever has the most points at the end of the time wins, or reaches the maximum. Some of them have like a 15 to 1600 maximum, some of them are like 800 maximum. But yeah, it's, you know, 3 alliances worth, so it's the same as an alliance raid, 24 people, so it's like 24 versus 24 versus 24, and it's just all over the place. Now this here, Crystalline Conflict, is the new PvP mode that was introduced, and if you've ever played like something like Overwatch, you'll be very familiar with this kind of PvP mode. It's for 8 players, so it's 10 players. It's 5v5. You got 2 teams, they go head to head, they kill each other, but the main goal is there's a giant crystal or payload in the middle of the map, and as soon as it unlocks, the team with the most people sitting inside of the circle will move the payload closer to the enemy base, and the first one to reach the enemy base with the crystal wins. Matches here are very quick. They are at most 5 minutes. Sometimes they hit sudden death. Sudden death is a situation where the first team to get the most players inside the crystal circle just wins automatically. Doesn't matter what position the crystal's in. So at most, matches will last 8 minutes at the very, very most. You can see there is casual and ranked. I'll go over like all the rewards for that in a minute because that's part of the revamp. But, you know, it's basically, this is a very fast-paced, very, I don't want to say strategy oriented, but if you can get a team that works relatively well together, you can strategize enough to really just become unstoppable. And it's a very, very fun PvP mode, and it helps that these 3 maps here all have something interactive about it, right? Like the Volcanic Heart will eventually, at certain points in the map, will start throwing AoE explosions all over the map that you have to dodge while you're fighting each other. Cloud9 is really fun. They'll summon tornadoes that will throw everybody up in the air, and when you land, if you didn't grab a chocobo feather or put your guard ability up, that's it. You're like gonna die from fall damage. It's ridiculous. All these elemental hazards, it makes it really fun and interactive to like, oh man, this is just like added danger. So it's definitely very enjoyable. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the revamp. Compared to previously, where the modes of PvP were the Wolf's Den, or whatever it was called, which was kind of like a similar, like, I think it was like 4v4, just deathmatch. Rival Wings, of course, which is shut down, but will be coming back in 5.2. And then, of course, Frontlines, which is just a shitstorm. It's definitely an improvement. CC is definitely really fun. I hope the revamp of Rival Wings will continue the trend and make it fun. And I hope both of those modes will have both casual and ranked matches, because for those of you who care about obtaining the highest rank for, well, I mean, right now it's really just bragging points, you know, it gives you guys something to strive for. For those of us who are like me, who just like to play casually, we can still queue up for a casual match, have fun, enjoy it, and not have that pressure of like, oh, I'm going to lose rank if I die, you know, that sort of thing. So enough rambling about what the different options are. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty of what exactly am I talking about when I talk about the revamp. I mean, by now I'm sure everybody knows, but just for the new people to Final Fantasy XIV, when I say the PvP revamp, the biggest thing, aside from Crystalline Conflict being introduced, is that all the jobs got completely revamped, okay? And how they interact in PvP is completely different. So you can see here, this is the Warriors, you know, kit right here. You can see we've got our results here in our PvP profile, our rank, whatever. But you can see here in the job bit here, you have your Warriors kit here, and it gives a description of what all the abilities are. I won't go over them all because obviously, again, I'll be reviewing Warrior and PvP and I'll go over it then. But it's a way different kit than what we used to have. They used to have their PvP kits, not just Warrior, all the jobs, based off of their PvE kit, right? They've gone ahead and they've altered the amount of damage potency on everything to a much higher degree to make things more impactful when you hit your opponents. In addition to that, they all have relatively different cases or effects to them in PvP versus their PvE counterparts. I think the best example I can really give is Onslaught, right? So Onslaught in PvE is 3 charges. You just charge, you know, you close the gap between you and your target and you deal like a little bit of damage. It refreshes every XYZ amount of time. You can see here in PvP, it's got a 10-second cooldown, still a gap closer, has a 500 potency, but potency increases up to 5,000 as HP nears the maximum. So the higher amount of hit points your target has, the more damage you're going to deal with Onslaught. It consumes 10% of our current HP when it's executed, and has an additional effect that for 10 seconds, when you hit a target with Onslaught, it will increase the amount of damage they take by 10%. Wow. That's good. And I mean, it's unique things like that they've decided to go ahead. They've made the overall job kits smaller for every job, but they made each and every ability more impactful and have like these unique effects. And it's just made PvP that much more fun. In addition to that, everybody gets a basic PvP skill loadout. And it's all the same for everybody all across the board. You don't have to pick 2. They don't change depending on the role of your job that you've selected. And you don't have to worry about like, oh, did I pick the right ones? Did I not pick the right ones? These ones are kind of useless and I accidentally chose them and now I can't switch them until the next match. Oh, this sucks. No, you just always have these. Standard issue Elixir, Recuperate, Purify, Guard, and Sprint. I'll go over all those. Well, I suppose I can go over them right now, right? I mean, Standard issue Elixir, 4.50 second cast with a 5-second recast, fully restores HP and MP to max, but it's a long cast time, obviously. It's interrupted if you move, take damage, all that stuff. Recuperate is an instant cast with a 1-second cooldown for a 2500 MP cost. This is your general like oh shit heal. This is your like gonna keep yourself alive. Restores your own HP with a potency of 15,000. It's just like a boop, boop. You're just going to use it to keep yourself alive. Purify. This is our stun breaker. Remove stun, heavy, bind, silence, half sleep. Sleep, deep freeze, grants resilience. So this is our CC breaker, right? This is going to break any crowd control that's put on us. But there's a thing here. Resilience effect. Nullifies status afflictions that can be removed by Purified. As of the last time I checked, this is kind of bugged. It will remove any CC on you, but resilience doesn't take effect. It doesn't matter. I have gotten stunned, used Purify, and then immediately been stunned immediately right after, before the 5 seconds is up. So, I mean, you can say latency, you can say server lag, you can say a server tick or something. I don't buy it. I think someone kind of mucked up the code a little bit and they just haven't fixed that bug yet, but I'm hoping it will change. Guard, instant cast, 30-second recast, reduces damage taken by 90% and grants immunity to CC and knockback and draw in effects. It lasts for 5 seconds, reduces our movement speed by 50%. This is kind of like a, if you dove in too far or too hard and you realize you got to get out of there and you need to try to survive, this is your like, whoop, I'm gonna kind of put this on and hope they forget about me. And then everybody gets sprint. Sprint is actually in PvP is a toggle, so you just turn on, and it will stay on until you attack something, or just turn it off yourself. So you'll always be sprinting all the time if you're not on a mount. It's good stuff. Those are the generic abilities. Every job gets them. Doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter if you're tank, if you're DPS, if you're a healer. You're going to get those abilities. You put them on your hotbar and you use them. And they're nice. It's great. It's awesome. Another unique thing that they've done with PvP that is different is the limit breaks. Okay? It used to be, like I mentioned earlier, every limit break was kind of homogenized based on the job, the role. Tanks had one, healers had another, melee DPS had one. You know, it was all the same. Every single job now has their own unique limit break that brings something to the table. And that has just made it even more fun and slightly chaotic, but it's great. You know, I think that has added a lot to the whole PvP thing. The last thing I want to go over that's changed is PvP rewards. Now, prior to this, you could collect wolf marks, I think is what they're called. Yeah, wolf marks from just front lines and just generic PvP. It was just a basic token currency that you could spend at the vendors, you know, behind my character here on screen, and just buy like PvP themed armor, weapons, things like that. Not really anything that you could really use as like gear legitimately, not since A Realm Reborn anyway, but like, you know, it's mostly for glamours, stuff like that. Now it used to be, if you wanted the really good stuff, you would have to collect wolf collars, and the only way to get wolf collars was by playing in ranked PvP, and getting a higher rank would reward you with more wolf collars. And then you would also get, at the end of every season, if you had a high rank, you would also get access to unique mounts, titles, and a unique armor glamour. They've gone ahead and they've changed that. They've kind of done something similar to what Guild Wars 2 has done in their PvP rewards. So Guild Wars 2, and again, I know this is Final Fantasy 14, but let me just paint a picture. Guild Wars 2 has what's known as a reward track, and they have multiple reward tracks that you can activate at any time. And the more you PvP, win or lose, you're going to gain progress on that reward track. And then you get these really cool rewards, whether it's armor or weapons or crafting materials, whatever it is, you pick the reward track to get the whatever it is you want. They have gone ahead and revamped the reward system. So right now, CC, or Crystalline Conflict, is the current PvP mode that has ranked attached to it. Crystalline Conflict now will only reward, as far as I know, players who reach Crystal, which is the highest rank, a special Adventurer plate design or glamour, whatever you want to call it. It's just something for Adventurer plates that only you can get if you've achieved Crystal rank or higher. I want to say they're keeping a surprise reward of like a unique title and / or a unique mount. I'm hoping they do that, because for the people that did grind out Crystal rank, I really want you guys to get something better than just an Adventurer plate. Like, I think that's kind of lame, and I'm pretty sure your SHP and the dev team are probably going to be like, nah, we got a mount for you guys, just like we've used to do in the past. We're just not telling anybody yet, because, you know, we wanted to be a surprise. I'm hoping that's what it is. But currently right now, the only thing we know about is an Adventure plate glamour. For those of us filthy casuals, though, you can see here we have series level -30, and then series milestones. So this is the new reward track, okay, that they introduced in 6.1. So you gain a little bit of experience every time you win or lose a match, okay, and that feeds into your reward track. Obviously the first few levels are pretty quick and easy to get. The more you get up, the more experience you need to see. So you can see if I want to get to like series rank 31, I need 20,000 PvP XP. That's like, I mean, that's whatever. I actually didn't claim that reward. Give me that. So what you can see here is they reward you with various things. So like Trophy Crystal, this is a new currency they've introduced that gives us access to current season armor and weapon glamours. relative to PvP. They give us, they gave us a dance, or whatever this is. Astra Framers kit, so some like adventure plate stuff. Gave us some goggles, some glamour goggles we can put on if we want. But the biggest thing is, remember how I said previously you had to play ranked to get a cool armor glamour? You get it now through the reward track. And I think that is probably one of the coolest and best decisions they've ever made regarding PvP. And the reason is because it gives people like me an opportunity to get those cool armor sets. But this is also why I want those who participate in ranked PvP to get something else unique, like unique weapon glamours, or even better, a mount. Because I feel like if they're going to put in the time and the work to grind their rank, they should get something unique. I'm happy just to get that armor. And you've seen me glamour up the armor. If you really want to see it, I'll show you. It is, where is it? It's one of these glamour plates here. I just gotta find it. This one. That is the current armor glamour from PvP. That's friggin' badass looking. I love it. And I love the fact that they put it in the series milestones. Now, this is going to reset not every... I don't want to say not every season, because they've explained this out, and basically there's two seasons. There is the ranked season, and then there's the series milestone seasons. The ranked season is actually going to flip pretty soon, actually. I think season 1 is already technically ended, and season 2 either has begun or is about to begin. The series milestone are going to flip over to a new season every major patch. So this is going to reset to series 2 when 6.2 hits, and so on and so forth when 6.3, 6.4, etc., etc. Giving us new reward tracks, new rewards, and I hope more cool new armors. And I think that is really nice. It was a system that was introduced in Guild Wars 2 that I enjoyed, and I'm glad to see it here in Final Fantasy XIV. Let's see, what else? There's really not much else to cover aside from just giving my personal opinions now and my overall review. I want to say, so I'll just dive in here real quick with my overall, and then I'll review the 2 PvP modes available, and then I'll let you guys have the rest of your night here. But basically, my overall review of PvP right now is it's great. I think it's fun. I think it's fast-paced. I think it's interactive, and it's enjoyable. Now, prior to the 6.1 revamp, I only did PvP in the form of Frontline's Daily Roulette because the experience from it is ridiculous. And even now, like, if you're not doing Frontline's Roulette every day on a job that you're trying to level, please do it. You get like half a level, if not more, from just doing a Frontline's 20 minutes of just either getting slaughtered or slaughtering other people. Win or lose, you get a ton of XP. Just do it. It's so worth it. But that was the only PvP I was doing prior to this, and it wasn't the most enjoyable for me because I was like, I mean, it's fun, but it's it was just is boring, Now I actually look forward to it. It's one of the first roulettes I'll do every day that I play. It's worth doing it, in my opinion. It's very fun and very exciting. Now on to the individual forms of PvP. So as we covered, Crystalline Conflict, the newest form, I think is phenomenal. I think 10 out of 10. This is the best way to farm series milestones if you're going to do it. This is the best way to just get your kicks in, do some quick PvP. There are some cons to it. Like, one of the biggest ones, I think, and really the only one I have personally, is the lack of the ability to chat with people. You have to use these quick chat macros, basically. And I understand the reasoning behind it. It's because, Yoshi and the dev team have stated that, they understand that participating in PvP creates a competitive atmosphere, which then can bring out toxicity. So in order to try and nullify that amount of toxicity, they've gone ahead and made it so we can't openly chat with people. We just have to use these macros here, these shortcuts, as they were. That's how we have to communicate in Crystalline Conflict. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I also think it's kind of a drag that you have to solo queue into these matches, whether it's casual or ranked. I think you should be able to go in as a group with your guildmates, with your FC mates, with your friends, and just let a quick sorter method within the code decide, okay, these people are queued up together, they go against other teams that are queued up together. These people did not, they're solo queue, they go with other solo queuers. I mean, it's real simple to just flip those twos out. Those are the two cons that I have, but I still think CC is absolutely 10 out of 10. Really fun, really fast paced, and the matches are only like 5 to 6 minutes, man. It's like, it's not that bad. Very easy to grind, get a couple quick matches in, and just have fun and be done. Frontlines. Now, the thing about Frontlines is, before and after, it has always just been a shitstorm. It's just a shitstorm. It's 3 alliance worth of people smashing their faces against each other. You've got, yeah, it's like herding cats. Right, it's just like, it's herding cats half the time. Sometimes they're gonna listen to you. Most of the time, they're just gonna go do their own thing. You got people being John Rambo, trying to rush out there and go 1v like 10, and then they gripe and complain that, oh, I just get murdered so fast, it's so stupid. It's like, well, yeah, because you're freaking 1v10ing, man. It's a Zerg fest. Whichever alliance's Zerg is harder than the rest, they're gonna be the winners. That's all it is. There's no organization, or very little. There's very little cooperation. You got John Rambos, you got KDRs, farmers who are there to just like get as many kills as possible. They don't care about the objective. They don't care about winning. They just want the highest kills on the chart. You got people who are from the PvE side that are only there begrudgingly because they're doing the roulette for the daily, like I just told everybody to do, and they just want their experience. So they just kind of hang out near the entrance or near the spawn point, and they just kind of they don't really participate. They just kind of dilly-dally until the match is over so they can get their XP and be on with their day. It's a mess. It's a mess. Ever since the PvP revamp, it's still a fucking mess, but it's a chaotic mess, which makes it kind of fun. I mean, yeah, it kind of blows getting absolutely shat on by like 20 summoners just all summoning Bahamut at the same time, but I mean, it's also kind of fun. You can't help but laugh at it. You're just like, well, shit. So Frontlines in its current iteration, I'd say it's like a 7 out of 10. It's got a lot of drawbacks, but for the XP you get for the daily and the chaos that has ensued since the PvP revamp, it's still enjoyable. It's fun. Definitely recommend doing it at least once a day, every day for the roulette, and then if you want to do it more. If not, don't worry about it. It's fine. So that's just my thoughts, my overview of the new PvP system. I feel like after all this time, I have a relatively good understanding of it, enough to have made this video, like I explained. Moving forward, like I said, I'm going to start a new job review series, this time focusing on PvP and not PvE. We'll probably start with, of course, the warrior, because I love the warrior. Yeah, they'll be relatively shorter videos because there's really not much to cover, but yeah, I hope you guys found this informative and helpful. If you are new to the game and you're debating whether or not you want to play PvP, I hope this helped you make a decision. If you have any thoughts, opinions, comments, or suggestions, or anything you want to add, put them in the comments section down below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, please hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications every time I post a new video. You'll get notifications when I go live every Friday, Saturday night, and it'll just help my channel out a little bit, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll stop yammering now, and y'all have a great one. I'll catch you in the next one.